Live in the present. Why though? Because living in the present is when you're the happiest, you're the most satisfied. And I specifically think that it is when you're in the flow state that you're the happiest. Not necessarily you're the happiest because you're in the present. More so that the flow state only happens in the present, and being in the flow state nets you the maximum happiness, fulfillment, satisfaction. So what is the flow state? The flow state is a state of being where you are fully immersed in something. You aren't distracted by anything else. You're focused on doing a singular thing. And people can describe it as time just flew by as I was doing this one thing. I was so concentrated on this thing, I didn't even notice. And I think everyone has been in the flow state. I've been in the flow state when a lot of times just playing video games. A lot of sometimes doing my homework, like yesterday, I think I got pretty into it doing math homework, which I feel like not everybody does. But I don't know, at the time my goal was just to get it all done and do it as fast as possible. So I just like really concentrated on it. So the flow state, if we take the argument that the flow state is where you're the happiest, we want that, right? We want to be in the flow state as much as possible, which also means that we need to maximize the amount of time we spend in the present, because being in the present allows us to get into the flow state. It's sort of like a prerequisite. So what happens when we live or think in the past? That's regret. Thinking and living in the past is regret. I always said to myself that I don't want to live a life with regrets. But I was reminded that regret can only happen in the past. You can't regret things in the future, or in the present, for that matter. So it changed my outlook on regret. Because I just need to be in the present or in the future to not have regret. Very simple. Now, does regret provide any value? I think to yourself, no. No, it does not. Because what's happened has happened. In a way, to yourself, it's more so like just, if you're gonna wallow up in anguish, it's absolutely not useless. But if you're to like learn from it and teach your mistakes to other people, then yes, it provides value. So there's another component of looking in the past. Nostalgia. It's looking at the past but with an overall happy tone. So it should be good, right? I think it's actually useless and will actually hurt you. Why? Because nostalgia is looking at the past and seeing what was good. You're reminding yourself of a time when things were better. I mean, think about it. Like, when do you get nostalgic? Like, just out of the blue. Just like, when do you get nostalgic? Like, not influenced by like a picture that you took in the past. Just like randomly out of the blue. I say most if not all the time, it's when you're feeling low and you want to remember the good times. That's when you become nostalgic. You yearn for the past. Okay, so that's the past. What about the future? Well, I've said again and again that anxiety lives in the future. And that is true. I think that anxiety, in terms of usefulness, is more useful than regret. Because we can't live as well as we can if we're only in the present, which sounds ironic, but it's true. We need to be, I think we need to be in all three. We need to live in the past, present, and future, but we need to live the most in the present. We can think about the future, but we don't need to live in it. We can think about sort of the consequences of my actions. That's going to be in the future, but we don't need to anguish over it. So you can think about your plans, your future life, experiences you want to have. You can think about all of these, but you want to live in the now. You don't want to forget that there are things to be experienced now. Things to take in the present moment, such as this YouTube video. So, what I want to say is, live in the present, but think about the past and the future. Living in the past or in the future does you no good. And for that matter, perhaps thinking about the past. Actually, no. No, thinking about the past does matter. It will do you good, I think. So, be present. Live in the present.